But that's enough about the 75th anniversary. That's enough about that. Now let's kind of jump in to the meat, the card on opening day. Let's jump into it. The first race, of course, as usual at Del Mar, the first race of the meet has to be a mile, at least a mile race, a mile plus, so you can get the crowd into it. A mile and a 16th. But we don't get quality horses. I mean, it's maiden fillies, 20,000. Who do you like in this first race?
Well, it's a main in 20, and it's going to be a fun race to watch. Absolutely, always the first race at Del Mar. It always is. But as you know, I know, even the general public knows somebody has to win this race. It's not possible that they can all lose. So this horse will probably go off favored, but I like number 2, Freckles Galore. Rafael Bejarano gets aboard. Last race at Fair Hollywood Park just didn't fire at all. Something happened. Can't really tell you what exactly that was there. Maybe just a little too fast, but I did notice this race was 7 furlongs, and all her previous races, besides her first race, which she didn't fire either, all her races before that were at least at a mile. Some at a mile and a 16th. But this race was at 7 furlongs. So maybe the distance was a little short for her. Maybe just scratch that race out. But other than, she's been running well recently. Third, second. And I just think that this field isn't the strongest. And I think that she probably is the best horse in this race if you take out that last race. So I'm going to have to play the best horse in this first race. No screwing around here.
If you had an alternate pick, a secondary pick in this race, just in case for maybe some reason she gets scratched, I mean, it's still early on, it's Sunday, who would be your second pick in this race?
Well, I contemplated between the 3 Miss California and the 6 It's Candy Time, because I think those two are logical choices too. But Miss California just looks like she's on the improve here. First race finished 5th, but the second time she came back and ran a respectable second. So she's on the improve, gets Chantal Sutherland for Kirsten Mulhall, who is a very nice trainer, I think. So she's improving, and maybe she can, if she takes another step up, she can beat this field too.
I agree. I mean, for my top picks, Miss California is going to be my top pick. I mean, I love Kristen Mulhall. I have a lot of respect for her. She's definitely a great trainer. But, one of the things I don't like to do is really bet on this rider, Chantal Sutherland. 25 wins in the year, 11%. I mean, that's not quite a percent you really want to put your faith in, but I just like the horse. I mean, like you said, she really improved. She's going to stretch out to the 2 turns today, and I think the way she ran in that 6 furlongs, I think stretching out is the smart thing to do here. And
she's by Jazzle. So
yeah.
Jazzle was he could run long distance, so she should have no issue in that sense. And with Chantal, you see she rides Game On Dude, and you see what happens when she fits a horse. She does very, very well on it. And this could be the case here where she fits this horse. It does very well on it as well.
I mean, out of all the horses, I could see why you picked Freckles Galore, but I think that last effort, the 7 furlongs, kind of drifted me off. But, what would drift me on that horse would be Rafael Bejarano getting on board. That's a big plus. And plus, one of the things that made me shy away from it is Cesar Dominguez. He's not getting as many good horses as he usually has in the past, only hitting 7%. That's why I couldn't make Freckles Galore my second pick in this race. I mean, for my alternate pick in this race, I was going back and forth between 2 horses. I ended up on Wild Acceleration with Alonso Quinones and Jeff Bondi. The horse is dropping in class. I mean, he was at this level, and then they tested him up at the maiden special weight, brought him back down to maiden 30. He's proven that he can handle over a mile and a 16th distance. He's had 6 seconds to 9 starts, which that's consistency. That's good form.
Right.
The only downside for me is that Espinoza doesn't come back aboard. But, seeing Quinones has rode him once, I just, something about this horse. I just like the way that he, 6 seconds to those 9 starts, that draws me in. I was contemplating between him and It's Candy Time. It's Candy Time with a big drop in class for David Hopkins and David Flores. But I ended up on Wild Acceleration as my second choice.
And at this distance, he's hit the board 2 out of 3 times, both finishing second. So I see very good point there. If he wins, I wouldn't be surprised because, like you said, he's consistent. Obviously, likes the synthetics. He's 6 for 8 on that in the money, all finishing second. So I agree with you. I think this horse is a great shot as well. It's Candy Time. I looked at a little bit, dropping way down from a maiden special weight to the lowest level possible. She's run a few good races. The second race she ever ran, she only lost by a nose to Slane Castle. But looking at this, Freckles Galore, Miss California, or Wild Acceleration, those 3 seem like logical choices.
Yeah.
But only one can win, so you got to pick one. But you'll probably get the biggest price would be Wild Acceleration there. Freckles Galore probably will go off favorite with the Bejarano on the horse. That'll definitely be a factor there as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a maiden. Anything can happen in these maidens races. Opening day, first race of the meet. Who knows? Well, maybe there'll be a horse that's 50-1. Absolutely shocks us. I mean, the quality of this race isn't there.
Anything can happen in any race, my friend.
Yes. Moving on to race 2. Now, this is what I found also interesting. I do not recall seeing a 5-furlong turf sprint on opening day. Usually we don't get these races till later, a few days after opening day. But, the second race of the meet is a 5-furlong sprint.
They're going to be sprinting the whole time. Well, looking at the horses and even being familiar with these horses, there's a lot of speed in this race. A Tobai 3, which, by the way, he was entered Friday, I believe he was entered, Thursday or Friday. So there's a good possibility he may be scratched out of this race. But you still got God Even, U.S. Citizen, and on the outside, he's a Fox. These 3 are speedsters. They're going to be dueling early. And I don't necessarily want my horse in a speed duel. So I went and looked around a little bit and found Lakerville. And Lakerville's by Unusual Heat. Unusual Heat, great grass sire, tremendous grass sire. And this horse ran well. He won a maiden special weight down the hill at Santa Anita, comes back at Hollywood in an allowance race and wins that. He has something's going on. He takes a break, comes back at Fair Hollywood Park, runs in an allowance and finishes a very respectable second to Octane, who's actually a very nice horse in his own right. Gomez is on him. He's a great rider, anywhere, but he's good at closing on closers. And I think that if a speed duel develops, this will set up perfectly for him.
I agree as well. That is my top choice. I was even thinking about making this horse my best pick of the day. I mean, this horse is the form he's been in his first 3 starts, first, second. Gomez had a good ride last out. He was the favorite. But one thing I think people also have to know is the 6-furlong distance on the turf up at Hollywood Park, coming down to Del Mar and racing 5 furlongs. It may not sound like a big difference, but in my opinion, when I'm handicapping races like this, I think 5 furlongs and 6 furlongs is a real big difference compared to what we have down here at Del Mar and then up at Hollywood Park with the 6 furlongs.
It's a very big difference, and the only thing I'd be concerned with about this horse is there actually enough distance? Will he be able to gun these horses down, or will they keep going? Because these horses haven't been racing at 5 furlongs. They've been racing at longer distances, and maybe they'll be able to gut it out for 5 furlongs, even if they are going as fast as they can.
Yes. That was my only concern with the horse, but other than that, like you said, you mentioned the speed horses in this race. I think it sets up perfectly for Lakerville. I think Garrett Gomez, he's definitely a top-notch rider down here in Southern California, and he can get the job done. Now, I mean, for me, when it came down to a second choice in this race, I was looking at U.S. Citizen, and I'm like, I just couldn't. 79 buyer in a 6-furlong sprint, a main special weight. I mean, the positive thing in that race, it was a big field. It was an 11-horse field, and he was a pretty big favorite in that race.
Right.
But, there's just more speed. I don't know how he's going to handle the speed this time. I see horses that are going to be faster than him in this race. The thing, for my second choice, I ended up going with Got Even, and it was really hard for me to pick this horse to be my second choice in this race, mainly because it's coming off a layoff. He hasn't raced since January earlier this year. He's a speed horse. I think he's maybe if any horse is going to go out to lead, I think he's capable of doing it. He has the class. He showed that he's capable of going out to the lead. My big concern is, like, for me, I don't like betting horses coming off layoffs, mainly because usually they might need that race. And for me, I'm taking a big risk here, taking Got Even as my second choice.
If a toe by 3 does scratch, which I think is going to happen, I think he'll run another race. Got Even has the rail. So it's critical he breaks well, because if he doesn't break well, I think all horses here need to break well, even if you are a closer, because it's such a short race. But if he doesn't break well, he's going to be in some trouble because he wants to be on the lead. But he has broken well in his past 2 races, I think. And he is my second selection as well, just in the sense of his back class he's at. And it's a 5 furlong race. He can probably gut it out for 5 furlongs and still be up there at the wire anyway. And Talamo is a very aggressive rider. So he's my second choice, but I think this will set up perfectly for Lakerville, and that's why he is my top selection.
Yeah, I totally agree with Lakerville. Like I said, I'm contemplating whether he's my pick of the day or not. I'm still unsure.